So are you a blessing or a curse? Have you ever wondered if you yourself are a blessing to somebody or if you are a curse, in fact, a curse to them? Like, do you cause somebody issues? Do you cause somebody heartache? Have you just really sat and wondered, like, basically, when you lie, are you underhanded or are you very snaky, like deceitful, or you don't share the whole truth, or you are disloyal to somebody? Those types of things. Okay, those types of things. That's like being a curse to somebody. Okay, so I was talking about earlier in Deuteronomy, right, about a blessing or a curse that Jehovah has put before us, and he, in chapter 11 of Deuteronomy, he said a blessing or a curse. A blessing or a curse, right? That's what he put before his people, right? But if you go down to Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 17, okay, so after he gave them all the lessons and all of the rules and things, he said in verse 17, but if your heart turns away and you do not listen, and you are enticed and bow down to other gods and serve them, I tell you today, you will certainly perish. You will not live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. I take the heavens and the earth as a witness against you today that I have put life and death before you, the blessings and the curse. And you must choose life so that you may live, you and your descendants, by loving Jehovah your God, by listening to his voice, by sticking to him, for he is your life, and by him you will endure a long time in the land that Jehovah swore to give to your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so I'm just reading that last part. So basically, he was saying, I put this before you, life or death, a blessing or a curse. So, like, a lot of things in life are really like that. A lot of things in life are like that. Not everything, obviously, not everything. When we're just choosing, hey, what do you want to wear? What color do you want to put on today? Or what earrings do you want? Whatever. That's obviously not what I'm talking about. But when you talk about who you decide to spend time with and who you want to have in your inner circle and around you, you have to be very careful, right? Because if people's morals and values and standards are not similar to yours, they can be a curse. They could be a curse to you. Like, without you realizing, they could literally just be a curse. And I mean that because some people just act in ways that are just, they may not even think that they're doing anything wrong. They don't think that they're doing anything wrong. But in fact, if it's something that they don't want to come up front and tell you or do in front of you, or like do like for you to know about, then something about it is probably hurtful to you, right? Then something about it is considered hurtful, mean, right? Like something, they're hiding something, right? And that can feel like a curse, especially when someone does that to you over and over and over and over and over again, right? Nobody wants to deal with that. That's what it was. Okay, Deuteronomy 10:17. Okay, it says different things. Okay, these are different things that Jehovah was saying that they must not do, and they have to cleanse their hearts. And so it's Deuteronomy 10. I'll start with 15. Deuteronomy 10:15. But only to your forefathers did Jehovah draw close and express his love, and he has chosen you, their offspring, out of all the peoples, as you are today. 16. It says, you must now cleanse your hearts and stop being so stubborn. First, it says, you must now cleanse your hearts and stop being so stubborn. That's what it says. For Jehovah your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great, mighty and awe-inspiring, who treats none with partiality and does not accept a bribe. He executes justice for the fatherless child and the widow, and he loves the foreign resident and gives them food and clothing. And you too must love the foreign resident, for you become foreign residents in the land of Egypt. So you see, even God, so God, this is how he treats us. He does not, hold on. He does not accept a bribe. No, I'm not doing that one. He does not accept a bribe. And he doesn't treat anybody with partiality. This is how Jehovah treats us. And this is what he expects us to do. So that we are not being a curse to somebody. Right? Like, so that you're not acting underhandedly. Deuteronomy 16, verse 19. You must not pervert justice or show partiality or accept a bribe, for the bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and distorts the words of the righteous. Justice you should pursue, so that you may keep living and take possession of the land that Jehovah your God is giving you. So again, verse 19. This is Deuteronomy 16, verse 19. Look. You can look this up in your own Bible. You must not pervert justice and show partiality or be prejudiced. Okay? Not be prejudiced. Or accept a bribe, for the bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and distorts the words of the righteous. So there could be if somebody tries to bribe you to do something, then it's probably something unwise that you should be doing. It's probably going to put you on the path of destruction or the path of the cursings. Like not the path of blessings, but the path of curse. Okay? There's a reason why Jehovah put that in the Bible, to not accept a bribe. Because it's going to blind you as to what is wise for you or what is the best thing for you, right? And he doesn't want that. He doesn't want that for yourself. It says neither should, and he talks about setting up a sacred pillar for yourself, something Jehovah God hates. Okay, so he talks about all the things that, worshiping other gods, basically. He's talking about all of that after that, but not accepting a bribe. So he's talking about, he literally gave us so many rules and regulations in the Bible of different things to keep us on the path of righteousness, on the path of blessings, on the path of blessings. And so I was kind of meditating on this all day today, basically. A blessing or a curse, a blessing or a curse, a blessing or a curse, right? And just asking yourself, are you being a blessing to somebody? Are you trying to be a blessing? Because being a blessing to somebody and not doing things like taking bribes or prejudging people, or just doing things that are underhanded or, that behind somebody's back, stabbing people in the back, being disloyal, lying, and all that kind of stuff. Like, just being honest and just being straight honest and not lying, just being honest will change so many things for you, because the truth will set you free. The truth will always set you free when you are just honest with people and you don't lie. It's like, people have made mention to me many times. They have said things like, you're so honest, or sometimes I'm brutally honest. I've been told that. I've been told that I'm brutally honest. Okay. But I'd rather be brutally honest and risk hurting somebody's feelings than to be dishonest and stab somebody in the back and be on the path of cursings and have to experience cursings because I was too scared to be brutally honest. Okay. So it's like, to me, I've already experienced in my life when I wasn't brutally honest, or maybe when I did choose not to see things a certain way or hear certain things that my conscience was pricking. I feel like I learned that lesson many years ago. many years ago. It's just better to be brutally honest. And I know it takes a lot of confidence. I know it takes a lot of it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. But to me, being on the path of being blessed and having Jehovah's blessing and not a curse, is worth it. It's worth it to remove all the blocks. Anybody who's going to block me from my blessings, anybody, anything, any job, any person, any decision, or whatever. I know for me at this point in my life, and this is what I'm trying to get across to my children, my kids, my boys, all the time. I'm like, you know what? When you're in your 20s and everything, you kind of think, you know, like you have plenty of time. And when you're in your 30s, you think you know it all. When you're in your 30s, you think you know it all because now you're not in your 20s, right? And then your 40s hit, right? And then you're kind of like, wow, I didn't know anything in my 30s, right? But I would say that for me, it was really after my first husband passed that I changed drastically how I saw everything. And I started seeing, I just really saw, I've always seen God's hand in my life, but especially from that time on, you know, and I guess I just approached life with that brutal honesty, because time is precious. Time is very precious. And we don't know how much time, nobody is guaranteed any amount of time. Nobody. So you want to respect the time that you have here on earth, to be honest to people and be loving and not be backstabbers, you know, and choose to be a blessing. Don't choose to be a curse. It's like when you get married to somebody, right? How you treat them in the relationship is either a blessing or a curse. That's how they're going to look at it. They're going to look at it as either a blessing or a curse. I was rereading in my Love and Respect book. I was just rereading, you know, all the chapters. And specifically, though, I didn't really go into too much about what a man can do to actually spell love to your wife. But it talks, remember the word couple. I shared this in one of my past videos, but this book, I really love this book, and I'm going to show you this. And this is how you spell love to your wife. It says couples. It stands for, C stands for closeness. She wants you to be close. O is for openness. She wants you to open up to her. Okay. Hold on a minute. Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. Anyway, closeness stands for she wants you to be close. Openness stands as she wants you to open up to her. You is understanding. Don't try to fix her. Just listen. Peacemaking. She wants you to say, I'm sorry. I say for men, that is one thing that when you can get used to saying I'm sorry, you know, and not have a problem with saying I'm sorry. Don't be too prideful. In fact, just get used to saying I'm sorry every day. Okay, because we all sin and fall short of his glory, right? We all make mistakes. So because of that, just, you know, be quick to apologize. I mean, that's something every woman wants. I think every woman wants that. But also, women to their men. I mean, you can do that as well. Loyalty. She needs to know that you're committed. Esteem. She wants you to honor and cherish her. Okay, and that's how you spell couple. Okay, is that's the acronym. And so yeah, I was rereading this and just going through all of this the other day, well, this whole week actually, and just kind of re-emphasizing to myself, yeah, this is for me. There is I mean, anybody can get married, right? Anybody can get married. Okay, anybody can get married. And we know back in Bible times, kings, you know, they had many wives, and, you know, what was it, King David or whatever, he had like 1 million wives and 500,000 concubines, I don't know, 700, 800, whatever. Okay, all of that is good, right? Like, you can have multiple if you want. First of all, I have not met one man who actually can maintain one woman, one wife, 100%, okay? I mean, like, I don't even know anybody who is like, you know, a man that is that good that can just, you know, take care of her. I mean, yeah, I've known good men, and men can actually take care of a woman, but I mean, to the point where he is not bewildered or you know, where he's not overwhelmed by just one woman. So I know back then times were different, but to even think that a man could actually mentally and emotionally take care of more than one woman is ludicrous to me. Now, I know men would love to sleep with more than one woman. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want their good woman at home, their wife or their good woman at home, and they want their whoever on the side and this person and that person. But are they actually taking care of any of them really well? No, you can't. You really can't split yourself that thin. But okay, so I want to talk about this because I do know that people, men love to say this. Well, God, he let the men back in Bible times, they had concubines. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's true, right? But there was a gold standard. There was still a gold standard of what he actually intended marriage to be, how he actually intended the marital arrangement to actually be. I'm gonna read that scripture to you. Let me see. Okay, in 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 12. Okay, let ministerial servants be husbands of one wife, presiding in a fine manner over their children and over their households. For the men who minister in a fine manner are acquiring for themselves a fine standing and great freeness of speech in the faith that is in Christ Jesus. So this is obviously in the Greek scriptures after Jesus came, right? And they were talking about what like to be an elder, okay, and to put men to the test. So he was talking about basically what to look for, or if a man is going to be an overseer in the congregation, right? So this would be somebody who is reflecting more of the gold standard, or who is somebody who's trustworthy, right? So I'll just read it from the beginning. This is in chapter 3, verse 17. It says, in 1 Timothy, verse 3, the very first verse, it says, this statement is trustworthy. If a man is reaching out to be an overseer, okay, so like an elder in the congregation, right, to be used in a congregation, he is desirous of a fine work, okay, so this is a good thing for him. The overseer should therefore be irreprehensible, a husband of one wife, moderate in habits, sound in mind, orderly, hospitable, and qualified to teach, not a drunkard, not violent, but reasonable, not quarrelsome. He don't like to argue, okay? Not somebody who wants to argue about everything, okay? That's quarrelsome. Not a lover of money, a man presiding over his own household in a fine manner, having his children in subjection with all seriousness. For if any man does not know how to preside over his own household, how will he care for the congregation of God? Not a newly converted man, for fear that he might get puffed up with pride and fall into judgment passed on by the devil. Moreover, he should also have a fine testimony from outsiders, so that he does not fall into reproach and a snare of the devil. Ministerial servants should likewise be serious, not double-tongued, not lying. Okay, so not lying, not double-tongued, not indulging in a lot of wine, or smoking too much, or getting high, or anything that's going to take up your mind, or for that matter, sniffing up stuff, or doing cocaine, or any other kind of drug abuse, okay? Anything that's going to make you mentally distorted, okay? It says, not greedy or of dishonest gain, not holding the sacred secret of the faith with a clean conscience. Also, let these be tested as to fitness first, then let him serve as a minister, as they are free from accusation. Women should likewise be serious, not slanderous, moderate in habits, faithful in all things. Let ministerial servants be husbands of one wife, presiding in a fine manner over their children and over their households. For the men who minister in a fine manner are acquiring for themselves a fine standing and great freeness of speech in the faith that is in Christ Jesus. Okay, so anyway, this is the gold standard, basically. This is the gold standard. So there's a reason why it was like, okay, he was saying like, okay, if somebody wants to be an elder or be an overseer of the congregation or be a ministerial servant or whatnot, he needed to be able to preside over his own household in a good way. So it's like, if you had decided to take one path and your mate is off the chain, cursing you instead of blessing you, and you can't preside over that kind of household. I mean, you're being cursed as it is, right? So how are you going to preside over your household, over your children, and do the right? You can't. And especially if you've had to step out or not had to, but let's just say you both have stepped out or whatever for different reasons, and you guys are doing the most and whatever. That is not the kind of relationship that is considered the gold standard by God. That is not a man of one wife, okay? If he has one that he considers to be the mother of his children, but maybe she's gay or bi or bisexual or whatever, and she decides that she wants to have a relationship with another woman or whatever, but now they're just holding on to this marriage because they want to look a certain way in front of people, okay, because this is what, he was bribed to do to get this money, because he didn't want to be with her in the first place, and now he's over here sleeping with somebody else, and all of this, and then you think the children aren't noticing all the discord? That right there, none of that is a blessing. None of that is a blessing. I'm sure your money is not multiplying. People are getting backstabbed, lies and stuff are taking place. I mean, this is all, like this type of thing that goes on, and I see it and hear about this type of stuff all the time. And it's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace when you see this go on, especially when you know that that person knows who Jehovah God is. He knows of what the gold standard is. A husband of one wife. So it's like, okay, men out there, I hear it all the time. Yeah, I want to have, 5 different wives or whatever. You want to be poly or whatever. That's called trying to have your cake and eat it too. If you ask me, whatever cake you're eating, okay, is obviously not enough. It's not enough to satisfy you. Obviously, the one cake, the one piece of cake, or the one pie, whatever you got, is not enough to satisfy you, to keep you from wanting to have your cake over here and cake over here and have everything else on the side. No, that's not the way it works. That is obviously a problem, and it's obviously not the right direction to go into if you want to get blessed by Jehovah God. The gold standard is a husband of one wife. That is the gold standard. And she should not be the kind of a woman, she should be the kind of woman in Proverbs. Who talks about the capable wife, the kind of woman who is going to crown her husband as king, crown him. She is a crown of glory to him. Okay, she is somebody that respects him, who shows him honor. Not just loves him, but respects him. She doesn't seek to try to control him or control the situation or just get money from him or just try to get whatever he can provide. Okay, that is not what being a wife is. That's not what being a Christian wife is. That's not what being the capable wife is. No, like she's going to do good and work good towards her husband so that all his steps are made firm, and that the works that he does are multiplied, and so that the two of them together actually are blessed, and they're on a blessed path, and the works of their hands are multiplied, and it will show, in their kids, the family, in their surroundings. It's like men out there who think that they want to have more than one person. You're not going to ever, the kind of capable wife in Proverbs is not going to put up with a man that's a man of more than one wife. Okay, she's not gonna put up with that. Okay, because it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I know women who are not even Christian at all, and they don't even try. I mean, it ain't even about that. Like, they just don't want to share anyway. I know most women don't want to share. Okay, most women don't want to share. But, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's literally two paths that Jehovah God gives you. A path of blessings and a path of cursings. A blessing or a curse. That's really the two choices. It's not your cake and eat it too. It's not both. You can't have both. And when you try to have both, you're really just walking on this path over here. You're walking on the path of cursings, destructions, or where you're not multiplying, where you're basically like on a hamster wheel, and you might be dealing with all kinds of calamitous type of situations and hurtful things, backstabbing, dealing with people who are cursing you basically behind your back and disrespecting you and dishonoring you. That's not the path that you want. So it's like, okay, so these men out here who are like, yeah, I want to have more than one woman or whatever. No, first of all, you need to have the money to, first of all, most men that I know can't support that anyway, financially. Okay. Second of all, forget about everything else that I said, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, all that kind of stuff. Men have a hard time taking care of themselves. Okay, so it's like you're not going to be able to offer to her what she needs. Now, she can offer that to you because women, that's what we were born for. That's what we were designed for. We were literally designed by God as a helpmate to him. So, of course, we're going to be, multitaskers because that's basically how we were designed, right? But even so, it doesn't mean that we should have multiple husbands or multiple mates or whatever. That's not right either. The gold standard that Jehovah set out in the Bible, the gold standard is a man of one wife, presiding over his own household in a fine manner, where his children are in subjection with all seriousness. His children are not acting out, being wild, doing the most. Okay, they're behaving. They have good home training. Okay, so anyway, you're not going to get all of that with, you know, just anybody, just any old buddy. You know, you have to be very, very, very mindful of who God puts in your path on purpose, that isn't sent by the devil to rob you of your blessings right before you're about to be blessed. Okay, you have to be mindful and really watch people. Are they a real true blessing in your life, or are they a curse in your life? Okay, and you know, try to really hear what God is telling you, so that you can pick and choose the right woman for you, the right kind of wife, the right mate for you, the one who is going to actually help you to stay on the path of blessings and not block your blessings. Okay, that's really what it's about. So anyway, be wise, and you know, take heed to some of this information and ponder on this. Just think about it. Okay, bye.